You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, that is a nice response from the Boston Celtics as they pick up the blowout victory against the Chicago Bulls, but it makes that loss for me just that much more frustrating from a couple of nights ago against the number 2 team in the Western Conference, the Houston Rockets. Happy with the win. KP outstanding. Derrick White, Jaylen Brown. Bench did a lot of good things as well. Joe Mazzulla went to that bench in the first quarter. I thought that was interesting. We do welcome you to our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime college basketball play-by-play announcer, former show host for satellite radio and ESPN Radio. You are right where you need to be. You are locked on with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, providing reaction to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as a Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which you know is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. With our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, we're going to talk about Porzingis going for his 4th double-double of the season, played late in the game. It was one of those games where you thought spectators for the starting 5, or at least for a majority of the starting 5. Instead, Joe Mazzulla had to call a timeout under 2 to go to get the starters off the floor. I got no problem with that. We'll talk about sharing the rock. We'll talk about never letting the Bulls get back into the game in the 3rd or 4th quarters. I thought that was huge for the Celtics. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation, watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit the comment button. Join the Celtics conversation. Give us your one random thought on the Celtics win. Also, follow us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Also, give us a follow on the X as well, at Lennox on Hoops. Our latest Locked On Celtics postcast brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So the Celtics, Jason Tatum, questionable before the game, dealing with that issue right now. He's been on the injury report before with the right knee tendinopathy. Tatum played. Derrick White returned. No Al Horford, no Sam Hauser, both missing a 2nd straight game. Now on the other side, Kobe White was questionable. He played. Zach LaVine out. Wife giving birth to their 3rd child. Congratulations to Zach, the LaVine family, his wife, and all involved as well. Hope baby and mom are all doing well as well. Celtics pick up the victory. Up by 3 after the first quarter, and Porzingis, first NBC Sports Boston reference of the night, Drew Carter, Brian Scalabrine saying, and they were giving numbers to Porzingis, and they try to get him involved with the offense from the opening jump. Well, he was involved early on. Second possession, Porzingis a 3. Porzingis another 3. And that second one from way downtown. Jaylen Brown, a layup, next trip down. 2 offensive rebounds. KP fouled. Couple of free throws. Celtics off to a 10-0 start. Bulls opened up 0 for 5 from the field. Lonzo Ball made 3 free throws. Porzingis a bucket, then another 3. Porzingis had 13 of the Celtics' first 15 points, 4 of 4 overall, 3 of 3 from downtown, 2 of 2 at the line. Lonzo Ball had his 2nd 3 to give him 9. That's all he scored the rest of the way. Lonzo Ball did not score again. The Bulls, they've got pieces. I don't know that Lonzo Ball is one of those pieces for the future. I've seen his name in some reports in terms of being a guy who they let go, buy out the contract. We'll see how that plays out. Bulls got to within 1 at 17-16 after the Celtics opened up on a 10-0 run in that first quarter. Nikola Vucevic with a basket, his first points, and Brian Scalabrine saying right then and there, they're winning this game because they are moving the ball. That was in reference to the Chicago Bulls. Springer, Drew Peterson, Jaden Springer, Drew Peterson, both on the court, both getting minutes in that first quarter for Joe Mazzulla. Tatum, a bucket out of a timeout, up 1-19-18. Springer a steal, Tatum a 3, 5 straight for the Celtics. And again, up 26-23, 3-point lead after the first quarter. Celtics 4 of 10 on threes in that first quarter. KP 15 points, 15 of the Celtics 26. He was far from done. Celtics, a 41-point second quarter, up by 16 at the half. Celtics in the first half, 18 points off turnovers. Led for 23 minutes and 19 seconds. Porzingis, I mentioned 15 in the first quarter, 26 for the half. Had 11 points in the second quarter. 6 threes. 3 in the first, 3 in the second. Out of a timeout. Getty missing on a 3. Holiday, strong take. Celtics up by 17 at that point, 48-31 in the second. The Celtics knocked down 7 threes in the second quarter, 11 for the first half. And the Celtics, 19 assists on 23 made field goals in the first 24 minutes. Tatum, buzzer beater at the end of the second. They did review it. Wasn't a 3. They gave him a 2. Celtics up 67-51. Third quarter, Jrue Holiday. This was a pivotal early on in the third. Holiday chased down a miss on the offensive end. Great assist to Tatum, who had the layup. Bulls opened up 1 for 4 from the field, and Billy Donovan called a timeout, their first of the second half, with 1:31 off the clock in the third quarter. And it sort of got to be dangerous time, and Brian Scalabrine referenced it. I wrote it down, typed it out. This is a dangerous game to play with the Bulls because they were going back and forth. Back and forth. The Bulls were off script. They were getting to the basket. Even after makes, they were running the other end of the floor, trying to score as quickly as possible. And there was a point in there where White, he had a 3 taken away, completely taken off the board, stepped on the sideline. That happened to Pritchard in a recent road game. Might have been against OKC. But instead of 15-point lead, the lead back up to 18. And the Celtics went from there. Porzingis, a 3, 83-62. White a steal, Tatum a 3, 24-point lead in the third, 86-62. Just over 3 to go. After a stop, White knocked down a 3, 89-65. Under a minute to go, Pritchard knocked down a 3. Brown got inside the free throw line, kicked it to the wing. Pritchard knocked it down, 94-72. And the Celtics up 3 after the first quarter, up 16 at the start of the third, up 20 going to the fourth quarter. And I'm thinking, going to the fourth, 96-76, 20-point lead, don't let the Bulls get to 100. I'm not upset. They got to 100. That's okay. That is all right. That is all right. Win by 22. Remember Tatum, triple-double, 46-point triple-double the last time they played? Well, Porzingis had the big night. Again, getting minutes in the fourth quarter. And I'm glad they were on. In the third quarter, I'm thinking his night could be done. But the Bulls, not that they throw in the white towel, but they were willing to just go back and forth, back and forth. If you were going to settle for a 2, we were going to try to hit a 3. And I'm glad. I don't think it got below 15 at any point in the second half. I didn't look that one up late, but I don't believe it did not get anywhere close to 10. And that's the danger zone. But Scalabrine said, this is a dangerous game to play with the Bulls because I don't think they were running a whole heck of a lot on the offensive end. Hoisting up shots and just, doing what they could. With the victory, Celtics, again, avoid a second straight loss. They avoid a third straight home loss as well. Win the season series 3-1 over Chicago, splitting the 2 in Boston, winning both in Chicago. And for the third time now, Celtics 18 games over 500. Let's make it 19 on Friday, first of a 3-game road trip against the Pelicans in New Orleans. Make it 19. Last check, Knicks were winning. Cavaliers won. So Knicks aren't going to pick up any ground on the Celtics for the number 2 spot in the East, and the Celtics aren't going to pick up any ground on the Cavaliers for the top spot in the East as well. Let's hit the comment button right here. Rain checking in. Today is KP Day now. He had a great game. And I'm glad, it's been a handful of games where Tatum hasn't gone for 30, where Brown hasn't gone for 30. Porzingis, season high 34. 15 after the first quarter, 26 at the half, 34 total, 4th double-double of the season. I was almost thinking to myself, let's see if he can go for 40 tonight. I don't know that Porzingis has a 40-point game in him. I really don't. I don't know that he needs to have a 40-point game. But if he can mix in a 30, 25 plus, he's had a great stretch here. He really has. Celtics fans We want more victories than losses. Right now, still hovering around 500. It's going on, 22, 23 games. But you're still 18 games over 500. Joseph, let's go. KP for 3. Joseph, I believe first time commenting with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. If I'm mistaken, I apologize, but I believe first time for you, so welcome aboard. Mike Driscoll can attest to this, and so can some other everydayers. Sometimes it drives me crazy when Porzingis gets off to a hot start from behind the three-point line. Hey, was he Dylan Brooks? He was awfully close. He was awfully close. Brooks hitting 10 threes the other night. And I like the comments after the game the other night. Hey, we didn't have Dylan Brooks knocking down 10 threes against us and going for 36. And Amen Thompson going for 33 in the game winner in the closing seconds. It wasn't on the scout. Look out for Dylan Brooks. He can knock down 8 or more threes. But Porzingis knocking down 8 threes, sometimes you have to live with Porzingis. I mean, he took one in the second half. It was in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was a line drive 3. It was right at the rim. He doesn't get a lot. I mean, hey, the guy's 7'3" with that wingspan when he gets the hands elevated on the shot attempt. I mean, no one's blocking it from up there. But he doesn't get a lot of air on those threes, high arcing threes, the rainbows. He's not bringing rain on his three-point attempts. A lot of them are pretty much line drives. But he knocked down 8. Sometimes you have to deal with 4 for 12, 3 for 9, 3 for 10, 3 for 14. I don't like the high volume, but hey, he knocked down 8 threes. And they gave him the ball. They fed him. They just kept going. And terrific to see. I don't know if it's unselfishness, and we'll talk about assist made field goals for the Celtics, numbers of the night coming up later on. But sometimes I just want to see, I referenced Tatum and the 46 points in a triple-double last time against the Bulls. I was looking for something like that in the final regular season meeting between the Bulls and Celtics Wednesday night. We did get it. Porzingis, 34 and 11. Outstanding numbers and high percentage from the field. Joseph, serious question. Can they give JT a few nights of rest? Joseph, how dare you beat me to the punch? It's like we're in sync, Joseph. We're mind meld right now. As I was plugging everything in, getting everything ready, writing on the little board over here, I was thinking that too. And I could see it. If Hauser and Horford are back for Friday night, I could see Tatum out of the lineup. Again, he was questionable coming in, ruled good to go 60, 90 minutes before the game. I saw it on social media. I don't know how long it was. It might have been in the 6 o'clock hour. I could see him sitting. Friday or Sunday against Philadelphia because the last game on the road trip is Cleveland. It's not a must-win against the Cavaliers, but I think you want to be at your absolute best against the Cavaliers. Where I could also see him missing perhaps a couple of games, and we're fast approaching now, after the All-Star break as well. After the All-Star break. And the All-Star games being what they are present day, it's great to be selected. They don't take that honor away, but maybe Tatum takes that game off. It's different this year. I want to like what this upcoming format is, but you're going to have some downtime in there too. So that gets my radar up a little bit. But Joseph, I'm right there with you. I would not be surprised at all if Tatum was out on Friday. Do you want Tatum, Hauser, and Horford all out? No. You want to have those guys, Horford, I would imagine, would be in the starting lineup as long as Porzingis could go. There's no back-to-backs right now that I see before the All-Star break. There might be one. I could be mistaken. Don't have it that far out. But, Joseph, I could see it as well. Absolutely. Mind meld right there, buddy. PK Tattoos, Cookies and Cream are back. KP set the pace early. Yes, he did. Got Brown going. Can't believe they kept the double-teaming Tatum so far from the basket. And Tatum, there was one possession in that fourth quarter. It wasn't head down, barrel to the basket. The defender did a nice job. I think a foul was ultimately called, but I mean, boy, first on the three-point line, got in the three-point line, and just kept pounding the dribble to the floor. That's just not fun. But he was determined in that situation, and Brian Scalabrine mentioned it. They're still going to double team him out on the perimeter. It's just going to happen. I mean, Atlanta did it. Remember that play where he got around the defender, went to the rim, and then missed. And he thought he got fouled. Yeah, that's going to have to be something. You've got to see it coming. You've got to get rid of the ball and go get it back somehow. But that adjustment needs to be made. But the Bulls were going to keep doing that. They weren't going to let Tatum go for another 40-point. But you had Porzingis just knocking down shots, and he did it all night long, and that was great to see. Again, third quarter, I'm thinking, okay, it's above 20. Do they rest the starters? No, they were in there, still in the closing minutes. Porzingis had his big night. Michael checking in. Peyton Pritchard played 34 minutes, more minutes than Drew Holiday. That's up with maybe Drew Holiday going to be dealt at the trade deadline. Michael, Drew Holiday recently said, hey, I'm an older guy. You can't, I mean, birthday is what it is. The age is what it is. I don't know. I've been thinking about, do they trade something from the starting lineup? It'd have to be Drew or Derrick White, and I don't see that. I don't. I mean, I think you're looking for, I heard, and Scalabrine and Drew Carter make fun of this all the time, and I did hear it earlier, or Wednesday afternoon on the afternoon show on Sirius XM on the NBA channel. Jakob Poeltl is available. They were talking more about the Lakers and the Lakers possibly having to give up first-round picks. I'm going to get into this. Trade deadline, I think, is February 6th, so it's next week. I think it's next Thursday. What assets do the Celtics have in terms of making deals? I sort of think the Celtics end up perhaps with something on the buyout market after the trade deadline. I don't know how soon that would be. What's it going to take to get Jakob Poeltl if he's available by the Raptors? I don't know what the contract is. I don't know what draft pick compensation the Celtics have in the back pocket. But right now, I mean, they were talking about the Lakers. Anthony Davis is out. I got to get to a break. Anthony Davis is out right now. He's going to be out at least a week. I would expect that to probably go into the All-Star break. The Lakers are teetering. And this isn't about the Lakers, but it made me, as Termini and Eddie Johnson were talking on NBA radio Wednesday afternoon, I was in the car, and, LeBron only has so much time left. So he doesn't care what the Lakers mortgage for the future. I mean, they made a great line. It wasn't a throwaway line, but, you're talking about draft picks for the future for guys you're going to be drafting down the road that are right now in junior high. Think about that. But with the Celtics, this window is open. It could be open for a few years, but the wear and tear, if you play deep into the NBA Finals, which is the hope, deep into June, again this year, defend your NBA title, it's a lot of wear and tear. Guys can get old real quick playing deep into those. I mean, that was the amazing thing. Whatever team, Lakers, Celtics of the 80s, then into the Pistons, then into the Bulls, Warriors, the health and the ability to come back year after year, get to the NBA Finals, and then get there back again. I mean, that's a lot of basketball, and your offseason becomes very short. But right now with the Celtics, you're one or two. There's two things. One, if the Cavaliers or the top teams in the West are going to make moves to better themselves right now, I think you almost have to answer with something. Another depth piece for the Celtics. But shopping Drew Holiday, I don't know that's necessarily true. Next off season, they've got to entertain that possibility. Hey, Drew, now you got to come off the bench. We've got to strengthen the starting lineup. We'll get into numbers of the night coming up in segment number 3. Going to get into some other stuff, observations from around the NBA. Maybe we'll do a little scoreboard watching as well. That's all next as we're talking about a 22-point win for the Celtics at home against the Chicago Bulls with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. And we are presented by Game Time. Attending NFL playoff games, hey, if you've been there, you know all about the unforgettable experience. And with being in the stadium for the NFL playoffs, it does bring fans together. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It is able to filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you do not have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Pick an upcoming game. Browse through ticket deals on Game Time Picks, and you'll find great value for all kinds of seats around the venue. With Game Time, browsing through the deals is simple, and you'll find great value for all kinds of seats around the venue. Once again, the super deal is especially impressive, offering the best value for the event. The apps features like seat views before you buy and all-in pricing with no surprise fees at checkout. It does make the experience smoother and more reliable. Plus, the on-time ticket delivery and lowest price guarantee is able to give you peace of mind. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create your account. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create your account. Redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, great comments so far. Keep them coming. If you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, don't forget to tell your friends all about us. And as always, we do want to acknowledge our everydayers and our first-timers as well. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. Celtics pick up the victory. A good win for the Celtics after losing a tough one against the Rockets on Monday night. Hey, the Rockets are a good team. We know that. Rockets are a very good team, and I don't call them up and coming. Celtics pick up the win again. 18 games over 500. 16-9 at home. You got 5 more losses at home this season than you did all of last regular season. It's all right, though. Cavaliers avoided a 4th straight loss against the Pistons on Monday night. Cavaliers coming back, and Cavaliers picking up a victory and winning 126-106 in Miami against the Heat. Knicks won by 10, so nobody picks up any ground for the top 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference right now. Knicks 122-112 against the Denver Nuggets. They're playing winning basketball right now. They are. Sacramento's sort of gone into a funk. De'Aaron Fox is apparently available. That window we talk about for Sacramento, I don't know that the window was necessarily open. It was opening. But boy, it seems like they were hot. They seem to be cold again. Want to bring up the Toronto Raptors because remember Toronto beat the Celtics a while back and did so in fine fashion. If you're a Raptors fan, well, they're on a little bit of a tear right now. And I said even back in October, November, watch for Toronto. They buried themselves into a deep, deep, deep hole. But with that, they're starting to win some games. They're going to be a pain in the neck for teams in the East as they're bidding, especially for those teams that are in that play-in tournament, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If you're in there and you got to play the Raptors, you better go in and be ready to take care of business. Couple of other random thoughts from around the league. Then we'll get back into numbers tonight coming up in segment number 3. Cavaliers, again, 5-5 through their last 10. Win against the Heat. They've got the Hawks Thursday, then the Mavericks over the weekend, and then the Celtics next Tuesday at home in Cleveland. Hawks, Dallas, Boston, all at home for their next 3 games. In case you missed it, Hawks, Jalen Johnson, season-ending surgery on a torn labrum in his left shoulder. 4th-year forward, having a nice season, averaging just under 19 points a game, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Anthony Davis, I mentioned him earlier. Here's a team that has some pieces. The Utah Jazz. Now, again, I don't know contract situations, so when I'm throwing the names out there, I don't know how you make them fit. But I take a look at Jordan Clarkson, I think. I'd rather have Jordan Clarkson from a few years ago. John Collins, maybe the same. But those guys seem to be on the injured list all the time, and I'm wondering if they're just holding them out. Is Utah a team that's going to be very active? They already made the trade with all the draft picks with Phoenix, and everyone thought Phoenix lining up to get Jimmy Butler. I wonder if Utah is open for business. Last one on observations of the night. Saw this within an hour of tip for the Celtics at home against the Bulls. Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, on the Dan Patrick Show. I don't watch or listen to the Dan Patrick Show enough. But there was something that I took note of. And I'm sort of indifferent, but I don't want it either. Two things from Commissioner Adam Silver. He's a fan of 4 10-minute quarters. So he'd be taking 4 minutes off each game. For a game, okay, you're not really saying much. But that's going to actually take games off the schedule in terms of minutes. And he said 15 to 17. It's not even in the crawling stages or the infancy stages, but it's something that he likes. And to back that point up, Adam Silver also said he would like to see it where they're able to create a more consistent set of rules around the game. Now, the NBA could have done that years ago. I'm not going far down the road on this one. But that's very interesting to me because in the international game, you had the trapezoid at the free throw line and it extends out. I wonder, I would love to call into Isola and Brian Scalabrine. I wonder if that would actually, it would open the game up more. It would open up the paint even more. Not that the paint needs to be open anymore because everyone's on the three-point line. But back in the 1980s, when they talked about that trapezoid lane in the international game, the NBA wasn't going to adopt it because it was something from the international game. Now you have a commissioner in Adam Silver who wants, and it's a global game, that's what he kept saying, but he wants to see the rules more consistent and more set around the global game. And before you say it, I don't know. I didn't look it up. I believe the trapezoid is still there in terms of the paint. And it was for all the big European the European bigs back in the day. Think Arvydas Sabonis. I just butchered that name. But that'd be interesting to see if they went 40-minute games. I really hope not. Because that just allows a lot of people to say a lot of things about the game present day. 122-100 victory for the Celtics over the Chicago Bulls. Numbers of the night. When we come back, and I do believe I have a couple of good ones, at least ones that I'm updating that are certainly positive trends and trending in the positive direction for the Boston Celtics. So, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. We do introduce the Locked On Celtics Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free right now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with all the new information with the free Locked On Celtics newsletter. And a reminder, keep up with everything involving the New England Patriots and their offseason as they're now looking ahead to the NFL Draft with the Locked On Patriots podcast with Mike Debate, the Locked On Celtics podcast with John Corrales, of course, just like the Locked On Celtics postcast, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Again, comments with us. If you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, we can get a couple of more in there. One more from Michael. Boston has got to make a major move before the trade deadline, before Porzingis gets hurt again, now that he's playing super good. But I just don't have the confidence in him to stay healthy. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Michael, because, I mean, every time he takes the court, you have to enjoy him while you have him, right? Because he could go down. I mean, think about him in the final. You've locked up that first or second seed, likely second seed. That's the hope right now. You don't want anything to do with 3, 4, 5. And I don't think they will. But, geez, a couple of games left in the regular season. Well, you're going to let Porzingis sit and get ready for the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but he can go at any time. That's his history. He lives with it. He knows it. He's not an apologist for it. It is what it is. But of late, the other night, he had a track down in the corner, hit it off the opposing player. Is he going to out-hustle everybody? Is he going to get to every 50-50 ball? No, he's not, just based on, somebody else's speed. Think Amen Thompson right now for the Houston Rockets. But yeah, that's, you can't go Horford, Cornette, Cada, Tillman behind him. Heck, they didn't have him for the run in the playoffs for an awful lot of the time last year at this point. But to get number 2, to get number 19 as a franchise, to get the second straight, Porzingis has to be healthy. No doubt. No doubt. Numbers of the night. Let's get to them. Updating a lot of these. But again, 14-1 after a loss on the season. You've still only lost 2 in a row on one occasion this year. You have not lost 3 games at any point this season. So with that, again, 18 games over 500. They win against the Pelicans in New Orleans on Friday. That's 19 over for the first time this season. 41-point second quarter. I love this one because I've got it down. Celtics have now scored 40 or more in a quarter 10 times this season. How about this one? 90. Let's give this one first. Celtics 67 points in the first half, 65 points or more at the half 16 times this season. I like this one even better. Half the games, 24 of 48 games, the Celtics have scored 90 or more through 3 quarters. Didn't get to 12-0. Didn't hold the opponent below 100. I'm okay with that. Up 20 after 3 quarters for the 12th time this season. 12 times this year, the Celtics have been up 20 or more going to the fourth quarter. Numbers of the night. Look ahead. Let's do it real quick. As KP gets his 4th double-double of the season. What's up next? 3 more on the road. At New Orleans, at Philadelphia on Sunday, at Cleveland next Tuesday. Right now, Cleveland and Boston 1-1 in the season series. Then home against the Mavericks on Thursday, February 6th. And then on to New York. And then on to Miami. And then home against the Spurs. It's looking ahead. But that matchup against San Antonio on Wednesday, February 12th, just before the All-Star break. That does it for us. As always, we do thank you. Great stuff tonight from our audience with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Don't forget Locked On Celtics podcast, Locked On Celtics postcast on the podcast side, free and available wherever you find your podcast as well. Locked On Sports Boston, number 1 place to hang out immediately after every game. We love having you on board. We love the participation. Don't keep us a secret. Tell your friends all about us. Locked On Sports, your team, your Celtics every day.